In Celtics postgame show.
Luka. Just gonna keep
Yikes.
saying it. Oh, how fun is he?
Well, Bobby's gonna be rooting for Luka. I'm gonna be. Here's the thing. The obvious takeaway here. The obvious takeaway is positive things in a game you played without Jaylen Brown, and Tatum woke up, and you need that. Without Tatum, you're doomed. Fine, great. That's good, and we'll talk about all of that stuff, but I'm starting at the end, okay? And this wasn't going to be a Marcus Smart bashing game. He didn't have a great game, but he was a bit of a non-factor, played some decent defense. Down the stretch, he hits the three.
Big shot.
Great,
yeah.
fine. But then the thing that they don't do in the NBA anymore, which is call fouls when you initiate contact, doing that against a 7-footer with no chance of scoring is a stupid play. Stupid play. It's not going to work for you. That's it. The league has told you it's not going to work. And number two, that foul at the end of regulation is inexcusable. You would have had the ball back with 5 or 6 seconds left and a chance to do whatever, and he negated the opportunity for the Celtics to get the ball back by committing a foul and letting the Mavs take it down to the wire and hit that shot, and that's your ball game. And two terrible decisions by Marcus Smart late in the game. This is a guy you're counting on to be smart and a leader. This is awful. Both of these things are awful things. I mean, just bad late game execution. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's that 4-second differential off the rebound there. They called timeout. He actually got a good tip off Luka too that they want to review there, and I don't know. I didn't see it again, so I wasn't sure if that went off Luka on that play. But Smart was disruptive in this one. There's 2 key mistakes down the stretch, and I know you're mad about the shot clock thing. I just have so many questions about that play on Porzingis because it's a good setup, right? And the ball movement was amazing tonight. They found him in the corner against a guy who can't really move on the wing in Porzingis. You got to blow by him in that spot, and that's something Smart never does on the perimeter. He always, when he's going to the lane, tries to initiate contact.
I mean, he's more of a floater guy. He's not getting by people and getting to the rim. It's not his game.
I know, but it's Porzingis, and you're in the corner. There's a long way you can go to blow by him and at least make something happen there. It's like he doesn't have trust in his finishing ability, so he either needs to draw a foul.
Why should he have trust in his finishing ability, Bobby? I'm not trying to kill the guy, but let's be realistic. His at the rim percentage is terrible. It's atrocious overall because he's not a high riser. He's not a great finisher. He's always trying to either draw contact or do something a little bit weird, in and around the rim. I mean, most of the stuff
is off balance on that shot.
It's always off balance. He's trying to draw the foul, and he does better on degree of difficulty shots, but he's not a guy who's just going by people and up and strong to the rim. It's not his game.
No,
almost everything he does is a little bit of something to it.
It's tough too because I was actually higher on this game than you were coming out of it. The pressure
I was up until the very end. It was a very good comeback. They moved the ball. Great stuff from Richardson. Great stuff from Schroeder. Tatum came up. Tatum was quicker to pass out of double teams. They got great movement. He got the ball back a lot. That was what we've been screaming about with Tatum. Pass out quick at the double team, swing, and it'll come back to you sometimes. There was good movement, couple lobs to Rob. They were actually running a functional offense there for a little bit during that comeback. So I was thrilled with a lot of things they were doing. I'm just so pissed about how it finished, how the game ended, man.
Yeah, and it's not just one moment. It's Schroeder throwing it off Tatum's foot on the rebound. They got Dallas to take a bad shot there. There was another just sloppy turnover from Schroeder in the lane, I think, in the next possession after that one. And then you just go to those 2 Smart plays to end it. You had about 4 opportunities there to get the final shot to win this one, and you actually had a lead. They ended up getting a lead off that Smart shot. And Porzingis gets that put back to go down.
That sequence is a killer because you get the lead and then Porzingis shoots a friggin' 35-footer early in the shot clock for no reason at all. And
Dallas looked dead late. You had them.
2 guys have the rebound to themselves. There's nobody around them, and they spazzed out, and Richardson knocks it off of Tatum's ankle, and that was a killer there. You guys just...
I know. Who was that on, Tatum or Schroeder? Schroeder's got the ball, and he's trying to initiate a fast break. It was Schroeder, I believe.
I'm
And it
putting it
just
on Tatum. He's just there's no reason
he's
for him to
stepping
be
toward
there.
it, yeah.
He's stepping
Yeah,
toward. I mean, look, it's a
it's like
bang
when you
bang
and your
thing.
teammate collide in pickup and everybody's like, same team.
It's a bang bang thing, and Tatum's trying to get the rebound. By the time he realizes Schroeder's got it under control, he's on top of him. So it's hard to blame anyone. It's more unfortunate than anything, but it's just you gotta,
And you knew they were gonna score after that too.
uh,
They actually launched another bad shot, and Porzingis comes flying in. Porzingis hurt them. I thought this was really the first time all year Boston's bad defensive rebounding caught up to
people
them.
here on the chat are saying Ime told him to foul. If that's the case, we're putting it on Ime, of course.
I could
But
see that, and it's
but
a
if it
mistake with
is,
the clock.
it's a horrible, 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 clock management and a bad, bad,
Ime
bad.
loves overtime.
Yeah.
They want to play another overtime, right? No, the way the shot clock is lined up as you described it there makes it inexcusable. If it did come from him, it doesn't make much sense. And you understand it. It's almost like the allure of Luka in that spot. Like, you got to foul, you got to foul, you got to take the ball out of his hands here and set your defense. Setting the defense didn't matter. Richardson was right there. He gets to the corner. He's falling away. These step backs that Luka hits, they blow my mind. Like, they're low percentage. You only get one or
I
two of
was
them a
thrilled
game.
he took that shot. That was terrible shot, falling away to his left in the corner with hands in his face. I mean,
But he hits two in the fourth quarter that, pretty much decide this one. There's a few moments I thought swung this game. Porzingis had another. It was like a 2-second chance opportunity there, and I believe Bullock hit the three on the follow there. That was a costly possession, defensive rebounding. This was a tough matchup for the Celtics, and you do feel good about how they hung in there. They went down by, 20, 19?
they
They
didn't get
stormed
killed
back.
on the boards as bad as you would think. The numbers
No,
ended
it
up
was the
being
key moments where they did, though.
the numbers ended up being pretty even. It was only 8 offensive boards too, so it wasn't. It seemed like there was a ton of second chance opportunities, and yeah, a lot of it was at moments where you just absolutely couldn't allow them. But at the end of the day, it wasn't as bad as as it felt.
Yeah.
Just looking at the numbers. So I
No,
don't
it's
know.
something you give up the way you're playing. I mean, the defense was good in this one. The defense has been good all week. You look at the switching numbers, they're amazing. And you're going to give up something somewhere in the modern NBA. So why not give up the boards? You look at those Warriors teams from those Durant years. They were the worst rebounding teams ever, and they still made their way around it. So, I mean, we've talked about rebounding being overrated on this show before. Sometimes, though, when you're in a really bad matchup, it kills you in a key moment, and you start going crazy about it. But overall, it hasn't hurt them too much this year, even though they're 24th or whatever it
Ime
was coming into
Udoka
this.
said the Celtics were not supposed to foul on the last play, said it was a mistake, put it on himself
Wasn't me.
because he
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
tell everybody the plan. Marcus Smart used the foul to give. Okay, so people in the chat are saying Ime told him to do it. If he did, he's lying right now. I highly doubt that. I don't believe
How do
he
they
told him.
know?
I don't know. They might have talked to him. It's so silly. He might have said, "Don't foul." I don't get it.
They
I
hopped
mean,
on the Zoom.
so Marcus is Ime's not eating that one at all. He's not. So again, it's on Smart.
So
So
here's the question of the night. It's a good one as we get ready for life without Jaylen Brown here. Who's the point guard of this team? Dennis Schroeder?
isn't it?
Marcus Smart?
Why is it a question? Like Schroeder's frustrating, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he dribbles a ton, he shoots a ton. I mean, I think he had like 11 shots in the first quarter or something, but it evens out over time. I mean, he's gonna get his. I like the pace he plays with. He's a better passer than Smart. He is. He finds more guys. He's just
He's got some chemistry. He got Rob going in this
he
one, which
got
they
Rob
really
going.
needed.
A couple
Yeah.
he's imperfect, but he's better. I mean, he's better. He's better. He's a better point guard.
Yeah.
He's a better point guard. Again, as Smart is when you have them healthy, Smart is much better coming off the bench, being able. We've been talking about it since day one. He's not a true point guard. Okay.
Well, here's the
He's a
problem is that they're
great.
both going to be out there.
You do want him out there late in games. You do want him out there playing defense as he was playing. I liked the few times he picked up Luka early, and made him work a little bit. Obviously,
I know
he
Scal was
does.
screaming for that.
Yeah. I mean, Luka, it's amazing too. We tease Zion, for the shape that he's in. Luka looks terrible again. I mean, he looks,
Luka's been terrible. I mean, you look at the analytics with him to start this year. Defense, not even a
but
thought
he
from
looks
him and others out there.
physically looks awful. He looks like he's
Mhm.
in terrible shape. Again, which is so surprising to me. I thought he was going to come back better here.
Jason Kidd had a weird answer too on his early season struggles. He was like, "Oh, a lot of guys, if this was what you're getting, you'd love it." It's like, what? It's Luka. That answer
Uh,
doesn't make any sense.
Nah, that
You
was
know,
putting a sunny face on it. I mean, Luka and Tatum, both efficiency numbers are obviously down this year, and I saw they put a comparative stat on the post game. Just want to give everybody a heads up as far as tonight. Sherrod Blakely is actually in Dallas, so he's going to join us in a little bit. He's listening in and asking his questions and talking to the guys down at.
he's getting the answers for us.
Yeah, so he's down there. He'll pop in hopefully in a little bit. We're not going to stay too late. Too late. It is a Saturday night. We are going to hang and talk. We'll obviously put up some of your comments. Everyone seems pretty mad at Smart. So
Can I keep going on Schroeder though? Because
I don't mind, but I just want to tell people Jimmy and Josue not around, but we will be joined by Sherrod. So hang out with us. He'll have a game report out of Dallas in a little bit as soon as he gets out of the scrums there. So we'll chop it up with you guys up until then. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, and it's not a problem because I feel like they've already gone in this direction. But there's a real chemistry between, we just talked about Schroeder and Rob. I thought Tatum got freed immensely by being able to dump off to Schroeder being able to do like a secondary action off him and then getting it back to Tatum. There was a real flow to the offense between those two in those spots. And worst comes to worst, like it's picking your poison, but if you got to decide between the two guys who's going to be the off-ball shooter in a lot of these different units, at least Smart's been doing it for years. Like he's kind of used to that spot. You don't love him being a catch and shoot guy, but he's been doing it for so long that, oh well, if he's gonna end some of these possessions catching and shooting from three, I prefer it to Schroeder because when Schroeder shoots those threes, I have no faith that they're ever gonna go in. He actually
I
did hit a
don't
big one.
either. I don't either. But I mean, I think
But
a
I'm just
lot of
saying Schroeder on the ball makes the most sense for this team. And that's been the way it's been. I think he leads the team in ball time.
And he's fine. I know people get frustrated because they think he dribbles too much and he's ball dominant, and he is. I mean, at the end of the day, he is one of those ball dominant point guards. Likes to create his own offense, but he will dish it. And I mean,
He's a
again,
very willing passer.
this is a guy who, for years, he had a stretch with Atlanta. He's scoring 18, 19 points a game. It's just who he is. But, he can pass. He's about a 5 or 6 assist guy. He's not like he's certainly not a pass first point guard. He's more of a score first point guard. He's shooting worse this year with Boston than he is accustomed to. But ultimately, he's about the same level of. He's better overall, shooter because he finishes better than Smart. Unquestionably, his rim percentage is a great deal higher. His 3-point percentage is pretty much what Marcus's is. It just looks a little uglier. So, like, if you don't have faith in, Marcus, I mean, you should have about the same amount of faith in both.
And Josh Richardson looks like a sniper next to these two.
But it's true. I mean, not Schroeder's shot is uglier looking. Smart's looks more pure, but as far as them going in, it's pretty much the same percentage over the arc of their careers.
I know, and to start this game, it's the same thing as it was against Miami early. It's miss, miss, miss. They're creating all these shots and
Look,
nobody can finish them. It's unreal. They were what, 2 of 16 to start this one from three, I believe. And to their credit, you see the shot profile from this one. They started going downhill, getting close to the basket more often, adjusting where they were looking to finish from. And Tatum got to those 12 to 14 foot spots and hit some shots, and other guys got to the rim, Schroeder especially. I like the way they adjusted, and even Smart started driving more. It was refreshing to see because the threes aren't falling. Like Ime can go to the podium every game and say, "We got the good looks. We got the good looks." We talked about the 5th rank shot quality or
what
whatever
makes you
it was
think they're
after
going to
last game.
fall? What makes
They're
you think they're going
not.
to fall?
They don't have the personnel.
You don't have the personnel. They have, these aren't people who you're like, oh, I just got to get them going. The track record of the people who are taking these threes or who you're are not great shooters. Not even not
The
great.
teams,
They're
the team's
below.
three.
they're below average shooters for their careers. The NBA average is like 36. I mean, they're below average shooters.
Yeah. Their average as a team, whole career, 33. And that's what they're doing this year. Like, what you're seeing is what you get from this
But
team in
that's what I mean.
terms of
Like the
shooting.
NBA average last year or this year is closer to 36%. Last year, it's around 35. They are below average shooters. Every one of them. Every one of them. So I
I
just
know,
don't know what
especially when Brown's out.
I don't know what
You
you're
know,
waiting around for with that. Like we got the looks. The other team wants you to shoot those. Like that doesn't help you, you
they
know?
don't cover Grant. They don't cover Smart. They don't cover a
No.
lot of these guys. And it's a semi effect, what we talked about with him last year.
Yeah.
Like the numbers might look good, but what are they wide open versus what you want them to be wide open? Especially
Right.
for a guy like Smart. It's not great. Al looks like he's losing faith in his 3-point shot at this point. He's passing them up faking, getting in the lane, which I think is good. Like, I think that's how you adjust if you're not hitting them.
Yeah.
But he was the guy I really thought was going to be able to thrive and space the floor for them in that regard this year. And
He's
he's just
doing
done nothing out there.
the problem is he's doing almost everything else. So like it's hard to bang him for that. But yes, I mean, he's way off his career mark this year, but I don't think I think that's more of a blip for him. I mean,
He's a
every
guy that you think can get going at
with
some
the
point.
exception of the 1 year in Boston where he lost his mind, and he shot 42% or whatever that was, he's been consistently 34, 35, 36 going back to, Atlanta. That's just who he is from three. So I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, and he's gotten better. He's shot more each of the last couple of years. It's almost like they're attacking mismatches with him, which I don't think is the best idea in the world. His post-up stats aren't great this year. You almost want him to be that floor spacing four, and I didn't want that to be his only role in the offense. I like what they're doing with him right now, and he kind of held things down in that third quarter when Tatum went out. Then they called Tatum right back over after like
that
a
was a
30-second
short break.
But Horford held them within like 5 points there, got to 10.
Well, you
then
got
Tatum
3
came
days
right
off,
back
so I
in.
knew they were going to do that with Tatum. I thought they were hoping to push him to the fourth. At the end of the day, it's still only 38 minutes. He didn't go 42, 43. So, I'm not super worried about that, but you kind of had to. Schroeder
No, and
played 39. Yeah.
you're missing Langford, so the wing depth got even thinner. That was the weirdest rule out ever. 7 minutes into the first, announcing that he's sick.
Yeah.
And it's just you get a good night and it's gone.
Yeah.
it's the Langford experience, another experience on this show.
Another experience. Yeah. So, again, like I said, we're going to wait for Sherrod when he gets out of the press conference. But we did hit upon it. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit with you, Bobby, even though it's not a major central, thing of the game. But Nesmith did have his opportunity tonight. And he gave you every reason.
I was right to hold out, wasn't I?
But
you wanted me right in the Nesmith expose.
I didn't. I was messing around. But the Nesmith experience, man, it's like, okay, fine. It's just is what it is. I know I was captain of the Play Nesmith bandwagon last year because why not, right? I thought it was a lost year. You want to see what he has. This guy's got to chill the F out, man. Like that spazzy friggin' foul when he smacked Luka in the face for no reason. Like
he goes to help. He's a nice little moment there. You put a little pressure on him, get back, but he's still hanging around. He's not looking at Luka. He's looking at his guy, his arms swinging around, and all of a sudden they might have called a flagrant on that in today's NBA.
Yeah.
Who knows?
He
was just so out of control.
He's got to chill out, man. And on top of that, like, it's just, again, it's just, it would be fine if he was truly a specialist. That's the whole thing, but he's not. He's just a spazzy guy. That's the problem. Like right now, all he is a guy who comes in and gives you high energy. Sometimes that high energy is what you need, and it gives you a little jolt, and it can help a little bit. And then other times it is absolutely just he's just a wrecking ball out there.
In the chat, someone in the chat pointed out the ball he saved right to Porzingis. It was another weird moment in the corner defensively, I think, and Some nights he's just got nothing from three. This is another one. I feel like when the games are kind of fast-paced, sped up a bit, like this one was back and forth, gets lost in the flow a little bit. Same thing happened on opening night against New York. But you see the defense. Like, there's just no discipline to his defense and his rotations and his positioning on that end of the floor. I was going back and watching the Heat film. Actually a pretty good game for him against Miami, but you see the, like, paths he takes to contest shots and get through screens and stuff. It's like he'll run like 10 miles around the screen to try to get to a guy, and they'll just go right downhill past them. Sometimes he engages the screen in a weird way and just gets stuck on them. A lot of the times he kind of leaves his hips open when he's guarding guys one-on-one. There's such poor defensive fundamentals from this guy. And like you said, the craziness, the activity, the hustle covers up a lot of it. But then on a night where the ball doesn't bounce the right way to a teammate, or, he's fouling a guy instead of knocking a ball away in that spot, it just ends up looking spazzy, like we say.
I know we're only 20 minutes into this show, but like, at what point are we going to start thinking about like a Sam Hauser?
He's up in Maine. We got to go get him.
No, I'm saying, at what point are we going to start to think about like somebody here has to come in and be able to shoot, right?
We said he'd end up showing his face at some point this year, just because it's what he brings to the table. And he had a huge game up in Maine. Jimmy sent us like 27 points in 27 minutes or something like that.
Bunch of threes. But look, I mean, Maine's not going to save us, but Nesmith is everyone says this, like Nesmith is supposed to come in and give you, like right now, the Nesmith, the pro Nesmith people are like hustle and energy. I don't know that that's helping this team right now. Like I really think they need some shooting, and they need the two things they need the most: shooting and consistent defense. Nesmith does neither right now. And that's what kills you, is every once in a while you get a game like last game and you're like, okay, that's a building block. But stringing them together in ways where you feel confident in him, both in his ability to knock down open shots and to be able to play defense, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, depends on the game, I think. Miami was a good game for it. It was going to be physical.
Romeo is a better shooter right now than Nesmith, which is crazy. You feel
it's close. I think
you're way more confident. You're way more confident kicking out to Romeo for corner threes now.
Again, neither of these guys have the volume to really judge. So I think if you just go off the eye test, Langford has looked better lately. If you add it up over the last couple of years and through the summer, it probably leans Nesmith. But you're looking for the collective package. Langford's defensive discipline so good, gives him that floor as a player. He's going to be able to get the consistent minutes night in, night out. And it's like, oh, he's sick again. The calf sore. Oh, his arm hurts. His wrist. Every other night, you get a good performance. It was plus 25 against Miami, and all of a sudden he's out again for who knows how long. I guess they got 3 days off now, but
yeah, he was sick.
So weird. It's always something.
It's a bummer. The Romeo
and Pritchard too. You thought Pritchard, this would be a night where he could find some minutes, and he's shooting off the backboard.
I just don't think
is still on.
The mask is killing his shot right now, and that's really the only thing he brings for you. I said before the year, I really thought Schroeder was just going to kill his minutes because there's nowhere. But when Schroeder's starting, there should be second unit minutes for Pritchard. He's just not doing it right now.
I know, and if we fast,
but the mask is a killer. It really is.
Yeah, it's tough to see this lost progress with him though, because we rewind 11 months ago, started last year.
All right,
he was a rookie, no training camp, jumping in the rotation, looking so comfortable and productive.
Yeah, no doubt. It is a bummer. I don't know exactly what he's gonna be able to do for them long term, but
yeah, and we're nitpicking. This was a good night. I'm just kind of trying to run the gamut of things that can be better here.
We're
but overall,
nitpicking.
the compete level was incredible. They came back from a huge deficit. They created offense without shooting. 48%.
We're not nitpicking. These are legitimate things, but I agree on the whole. Way more positive than negative on this night because it could have gone
2-3
the wrong
road
way.
trip you would have, or 2-1 road trip you would have taken going into it after Chicago.
We are going to talk a little bit more about some of the positive things, including Tatum, who we liked a lot of tonight. But first, we got to get calm. Everyone's got to get calm.
I know the chat does. I'm watching it fly by right now. We're pretty calm tonight.
We're pretty calm. I'm mad how it ended because
You
thought there
started
was.
hot on Smart. I
I
think
was
you need it.
I'm really pissed. But anyway, just to let you guys know, Calm, one of our sponsors here at the Garden Report, is the #1 app for sleep and meditation. It is endorsed by LeBron James. I don't know if that makes you want it more or less, but LeBron uses it. Bobby Manning uses it a little bit. Josue Pavone, Jimmy Toscano, Sherrod
This is
Blakely.
mine right here. It actually opens up to exactly what I need, the thunder.
Yep. So you get whatever you want: thunder, rain falling on leaves, bedtime sleep stories, all sorts of stuff. Help you get to bed early. Great promotion running on our site right now. And if you plug this into your calm.com/garden, go plug that in.
I heard John's going to get one of these too, one of these bedtime stories. You're going to see his face on there.
Yeah, it takes you right to the page, and it says, "Welcome, Garden Report listeners and viewers. Plug in your information, get 40% off." It's basically waiting for you guys. So calm.com/garden, go check it out. Limited time listeners can join LeBron in using Calm, get a 40% discount, premium subscription. Unlock the content to help you focus, ease stress, and sleep better. Calm.com/garden. That is calm.com/garden. Let's talk a little bit about Jason Tatum, because this was, you remember I said nice things about Tatum?
Yeah, you inspired him, I think.
It's not even that. You knew he's not going to shoot this bad forever, right? The stuff, but a lot of it has to do with his approach. And I thought tonight in addition to shots falling, which obviously helps you a little bit, I do think he was a lot smart. The Mavs were doubling him so early and anywhere on the court. The whole game plan, you could see it was, and with big guys too. They had Porzingis shading over towards him all night long. They wanted to block out the sun on Tatum so he couldn't do a friggin' thing. I thought he did an awesome job dealing with it tonight.
And it didn't look like it bothered him at all. Moved right off, found new positions on the floor. You had two guards who can play make, who were able to get into the lane and free him out on second level attacks like that. You would think the Schroeder-Smart duo next to him would be a mess because of the spacing, but with the playmaking you get between the two of them, sort of takes the load off Tatum a bit here, and he didn't have a big assist game. Thought overall the team had a great passing night. It was just
he passed out of those.
Everybody.
He passed out of them much faster, and the Celtics, in turn, were whipping it around too. So they were getting a good reversal and getting guys open way better than they'd had in the past. It wasn't just a clunky dribble, pass to a guy 40 feet away from the basket, and all that happened was shot clock got eaten and you're nowhere near in an offensive position. They were getting it and moving it quick, and they got a couple of drives off of it. They got a couple of easy buckets. You got it back to Tatum, who was able to attack the defense. I thought it was way better today.
Especially in the fourth.
And I thought he could actually get it even a tick sooner. I think this was, in some cases, he's still trying to dribble out of it. He can get out of it. He can get out of it a little quicker too.
Yeah, this Smart thing and the popular notion that he's selfish and just doesn't like it. It's just not there on the film. Like this
I've
guy
never
will
thought he's
get
selfish
off the ball. Yeah. He's a talented passer, I feel like. Like I've always talked about this guy's potential as a passer, even back to Duke, like great secondary passing in the lane off their guards. That was something you saw quite a bit from him back then. He'd have some 5-assist games, even though he wasn't playing point guard back then. There's just great potential for him within the flow of the offense. Now, on a night like tonight, the assist numbers aren't going to blow you away. But, he had that nice post up to start the fourth. They got Horford a cut there. Nice driving kick to Richardson to start off the frame. Thing is, when this happens to him at the end of a game, you end up with the Smart shot running in the Porzingis.
Mark, I'm with you. I'm calm, but I'm pissed also at the same time.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, look, that's the problem. And people are saying it in the chat here, and I can't argue with them. Like, he is better at passing. He did a better job passing out of it. It opened up the offense a tad, but at the end of the day, you're still passing to subpar shooters, which is always going to be an issue.
Every close game, Marcus Smart's going to be taking big shots just because he's going to be wide open. He's going to find the open spaces, and that's where the ball is going to go. It's Brad-esque the way this offense is working. Now the assist rate's up. The movement's better. There's not as much falling in isolation.
And I agree with this. He's got to pass and move. There's still not enough cutters here at all. And it's really strange.
Yeah, Jared pointed out play. I want to go back and watch it where Josh was like in the lane or something, and Tatum was just kind of like standing right behind him, I guess, not moving. Could have set a screen and rolled in that spot. He never does that. He
just kind
cuts
of
back line like once a
he
game.
but he mainly just hangs and he waits for it
Yeah.
back, but he doesn't get going, which is too bad because I do think, again, you're trying to create some easier looks here. And
And that
so,
for a scorer is kind of baffling. Like
but
Durant will.
it makes
You look
sense
at
if you're
Durant.
if there's shooters on the floor everywhere, it makes sense to stay spaced there when you swing it because you're just going to kick and get that three. But it is strange for a scorer. You would imagine he would want to improve his.
No, and we talk about him. You want him closer to the basket. You don't want him starting 30 feet outside and needing to do all this dribbling and running in the traffic and giving the defense all this time to collapse. You want to put them in different spots to succeed, and they've had varying levels of success in doing that. I actually thought they did a decent job for most of this game with doing that, putting them in those, corner areas next to the paint and taking some fallaways in those spots. His shot, the touch looked good on it. He played physical, got to the free throw line a little bit, and overall, you just look at his shot chart, pretty. Nice three-point shooting, couple shots from 10, 12, 15 feet. And that was that. It's a good get back on your feet game for him. It really was.
10,000% better, a lot of different ways. And again, a lot of it is the shots falling, but he was aggressive. I thought he took it, took it to a couple times and finished strong. And so overall better game for Tatum for sure. I think we saw flashes from Richardson tonight we hadn't seen.
That block was awesome. That was like his wake up call of the season.
Yep.
On transition.
Yeah, so I'm happy with some of that stuff. So again, and it was, I thought, this is about the worst first quarter, might have been the worst first quarter of the season, would you say?
Yeah, they got lit up. I don't know if it was the worst because they've had some bad starts, but maybe that Wizards home game, can't remember all of them, all the bad moments this year so far.
Yeah, but I mean,
they just got blasted. Luka had like 4 assists in the first 3 minutes and was hitting shots, and all of a sudden it's like 11-2, then it was like 40-20, and man, that Dallas offense can just pile up on you. I think their starting unit has like 121 offensive rating. Luka just creates so many shots in a hurry.
Yeah, but pretty uninspired start there. It looked like this was going to be we won the 2 games, so let's just No,
but they didn't go away, which is what you were looking for from this team. A little bit of fight, a little bit of tenacity, a little bit of an ability to play different ways. And again, you're down multiple wings in this game.
Right.
You really had nowhere to go in that regard. They didn't play Grant much. They said, we're not doing that against this kind of team, even with some size needed on Porzingis. They just played their style and it worked.
Yeah, if not for exactly the way this ended, I don't think we would have been fired up off the top there. If they came back and lost the way that they were shorthanded with some of the positive things that happened here, was fine. Like I said, I'm just came in rip roaring mad because I thought Marcus Smart made 2 terrible plays late. I'm
more mad about the shot because again,
I'm mad about the foul, but anyway.
I know,
I hate that shot. Never take a shot unless your intention is to make it. I always felt.
Here's the thing, though.
I felt that way pre new rule, and now it's obvious. You're not getting that call when you lean your shoulder into somebody, and that shot has no chance of going in. So
100%. I didn't like the shot there.
Why bother?
The thing about the foul, and again, on paper, it's a mistake just in terms of how you play the game there. But if Luka hits that with 4 seconds left, they don't foul, and then they just heave a shot. Like, what's the difference, really? And, it's not exactly going to go that way. But, to Luka hit an unimaginable shot there. Again, back-to-back years. That shot, who knows what month it was last season in Dallas.
It was pre-fans, and it was in Dallas. It's a national game on TNT. I think it was February.
That was
February or something.
Like worst moment of last year on defense too. The switch screw up there, and we never saw him again until the San Antonio game.
I pulled it up to watch it. I think it was in February.
Yeah.
It was
That's
bad.
unreal, though. You play this team twice a year. It's only been 3 years in the league for Luka, and he already has 2 shots like this over you. It's
That one was in Dallas too, in front of 0 fans. But yeah,
you see why people lose their mind. I think so many people have anointed Luka too early, just in terms of the production. I know his team's horrible. I can't get over how bad that team is, but he's got to improve in certain ways, especially on the defensive end of the floor. You mentioned shape. There's certain things I think that are just holding him back from truly making this leap and becoming. I mean, he's been the MVP favorite back-to-back years going into a season, and he really hasn't been close either time. We'll see how it goes this year. So I think, whether it's Vegas, whether it's evaluators, analysts, and obviously those kind of intertwine, maybe a slightly early anointing of Luka. And some people have said he has the chance to become like the greatest player ever, which is like a massive leap off these first 3 years. And it's an unprecedented production this early in his career. But we see the holes, we see the lapses.
if he were in better physical shape, I don't think you'd be worried about it. He's never going to be a lockdown defender, but he can play competent defense. The problem is he's not in great shape, and he's one of the top 10 players in the league in bad shape right now. He can do everything with the ball in his hands, and his vision and his feel for the game and his ability to create space for himself without elite athleticism is unprecedented. I mean, the way he uses his body, shields himself from people. He is
He has the flair of a soccer player too, which we
he
really
is
haven't seen.
unreal, and he's so he's got style. He's amazing. I mean,
Have we seen that in the league? I mean, maybe Steve Nash a little bit.
Steph.
Yeah, maybe it's just the European thing and just like me kind of looking at he
Why
played
just
for Real
watching him
Madrid.
bounce balls off his shoulder into the net and stuff like that,
Yeah, but even I think Scal said on the game winner there, just sort of like it's like a game-winning kick, and he's just running off and the celebration, and everything else, and just sort of that walk-off nature of his game, the step backs that put exclamation points on his performances, the flair with the passing. There's a lot of Bird comparisons. I don't know how you feel about that one.
Um, Look, he can do everything. He can literally do everything, and he's got Bird's feel, for things. And so I don't think it's a crazy thing to say. I think more so than any other player who's ever been compared to Bird. Sure, he's doing it without elite athleticism, but he's got such a feel for how to create his own space and get his shot off around anybody at any time. It's an amazing skill. Plus the passing. I mean, and the ball handling. I mean, he's definitely there's almost nothing he can't do. I just don't think. I can't believe he's not in peak physical shape. I can't believe he looks the way he looks right now.
I know it's unreal, and there's not a great culture there. We've seen what's kind of happened within the Dallas organization over the last couple of years. Cuban, I think, has been exposed in some regard as an owner, and they've had coach turnover now
They
within the
had a
last year.
friggin' professional gambler running their franchise. Like, I don't, I mean,
I know we talk about the Suns report this week, like Dallas, and almost Cuban tossed some money at it with like a charitable donation. They brought some guys in, but like that was a fiasco. That who knows how things have changed in there. But you lose both GMs because there were evidently 2 GMs. They cut their draft pick to start this year from 12 months ago. Last year's draft, Tyrell Terry. He was kind of a guy we bounced around on this show as a pick late in the round for Boston when they went Pritchard. They released him 12 months later. He was going through some personal issues, took a couple leaves. They just said, we're not taking on the last 2 years of the rookie deal, and we'll just eat the money on the second year. And he hasn't gotten picked up, but back-to-back draft picks just completely caved. They waited for Giannis and didn't do anything. This is also a team that's also had like dreams of signing a big free agent, Dwight and others over the years, that hasn't been able to seal the deal. Just weird things going on in Dallas, and the roster's in such horrible shape. It's like it's a miracle that Luka even landed to them. They had to do the trade with Atlanta. Atlanta took Young instead. The Kings took Bagley, which was just like, oh. And
that's
then Ayton, who Phoenix might let go now, Ayton. So, I mean, it's a miracle that they're in this spot with Luka, with everything they've done wrong over the years. And the Porzingis trade, we could do a whole show on that. But they're going to go to the playoffs again, and right now they're the 3rd seed in the West. That's how good Luka is.
It's amazing. One low key moment I liked early in the game when he turned it over in the post on the double team because Porzingis didn't stay in the corner, and Porzingis gets benched immediately, and Luka's just sitting there looking at him like, just stand over there so I can give it back to you. What are you doing, man? He's like
That's the other thing too.
he's like it's
He's in the
so he sees the game. He's like, it's so obvious what you're supposed to be doing. What are you doing up here? I love that.
Yeah, and he has such a great disposition too. Like he could be like roaring mad and like already looking to leave Dallas. I know there's a little bit of that going on with Zion in New Orleans, but there's just sort of like a carefree attitude. Like, oh, I'm just gonna fix this. I'm gonna set Finney-Smith and Hardaway up for some shots here, get everybody going. He runs a great pick and roll with Dwight Powell, who had like a cup of coffee in Boston and played in the G League here. Now he's a starting center next to this guy. Like, there's a real LeBron effect too. Remember all the guys LeBron made money and made in the like serviceable players? Luka does that incredibly. Like Jalen Brunson's gonna get paid. Tim Hardaway did get paid. Reggie Bullock having a great start next to him. Like there's a real empowerment to playing alongside Luka. You almost wonder why more guys aren't looking to do it right now, and get in there and take some of the money that they're gonna have available going forward. They just can't get rid of Porzingis. I mean, I know we kicked around the Kemba one with how good Horford's going so far in Boston. Like, it's almost a nightmare thinking about Porzingis being here next to the Jays and how bad of a fit that would be.
Yeah, Jason Tatum, I wouldn't say firing back fully, but definitely some. He's addressing for the first time the Marcus Smart comments, and clearly he's not a fan. We'll try to get some of that for you later, but
I
along
know it's been like 3-4 appearances. We haven't heard from him on it.
Yeah, it's the first time, but I mean, basically saying we talked about it. It is what it is, and just basically it happened. I'll quote here. Um, Personally, we talked about it. We had a team meeting. I guess I know how to play basketball. I've been doing it a long time. I'm pretty successful at it. I have things I can work on. And then it happened. You can't change it. We're still a team. We're trying to figure it out, win games. I'm not upset or sad. Let's move on. Asked whether or not should have kept it in the house. He's like, yeah, I think you know the answer to that. So, definitely seems like he didn't love the Marcus Smart comments.
How could, especially after a night like this, what we're talking about? It's like if Tatum did something like this and Smart went to the podium and they were asking Smart about that situation, just think of how Smart would tear into him and like be brutally honest in that part and like knock him over the head. And it feels like no one can do that to Smart because there's such I don't know whether it's just the respect he commands or just the frustration and the inability to take criticism. Like no one, has Ime criticized Smart this year once? I don't know if he did it post game for this.
I don't know, but I mean, I'm just reading the tea leaves here, and I'm going to say it's hard to listen to.
It's like you're walking on ice around this guy.
It's hard. It's hard to listen to Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum talk about Smart and feel like they're like digging playing with him right now. It really is. I know we've done this before, and they'll say things like, "Oh, we're brothers, and we're gonna fight from time to time, X, Y, and Z." They've done that before, right? You've heard that. Remember, you've had guys getting on it on the bench, and I've heard Jalen say specifically, like, we're brothers fight. I've got nothing but love and respect. I'm not hearing the love and respect thing. Again, what people don't say sometimes is as impactful as what they do. And so, last year we talked a lot about, wow, players aren't saying a lot of things about Brad. And it was a big thing. And we were like, they used to say it all the time and they're not anymore. You're not hearing the Marcus Smart heart and soul stuff and X, Y, and Z. You're just hearing guys who are pretty bummed out that he went public criticizing them. And I don't think they dig it at all.
Including Brad and Ime. They weren't fans of it.
They weren't fans of it either. So right now, nobody dug it. And so this idea that like, and again, I was one who thought, look, I'm okay. Somebody said it because nobody else was going to. It sounds like Smart's got no one on his side at this point. He might have said it thinking I'm going to be the leader and say that thing. And then he looked around and, it's like Will Ferrell, like we're going streaking and he looks around and there's no one behind him. I think Smart thought he was doing something that was going to be like, attaboy, we needed that kick in the ass. And it totally backfired, it looks like.
Well, I remember last year, people have brought this up over the last couple of days too. We were laughing our ass off when he tossed the ball off the tip-off against the Pelicans with
Yeah.
the full shot clock. And
Yeah.
it wasn't funny to Kemba. Like, Smart kind of laughed it off, and Kemba was like, what are you doing? And then Smart got like mad at Kemba because Kemba was calling him out in that moment. There's a real trend I'm noticing through two coaches now and just the last couple of years that when Smart has these moments, and again, you deal with them. I think generally over the last 8 years of his career here, they've dealt with the shooting, they've dealt with the decision making and some of the other issues he's had. Just because of his tenacity and his ability to raise the defense's ceiling and make the hustle plays and all this stuff. Now that his stature has been raised on the team, I don't think there's as much of a stomach for the mistakes and just for the missteps. Even if this, call out in a public setting there was a misstep, something they didn't want to have happen as a team, and he just
So
sort
I
of went
mean,
rogue
and
and did it.
that's the thing, right? That was something. And again, we do give Smart a ton of leeway, right? Because his imperfections are baked into the pie. You know exactly that that's who he is. So you're supposed to know that, which means you're supposed to kind of roll with them. But at the end of the day,
And it's also a team that kind of wanes defensively, and he's the only guy constantly revving that motor. That's sort of the reason I give him some leeway.
But a lot of people do. However, and again, as I continue on and just kind of thinking about it here, he is playing at a really bad level right now. But you're going to say this stuff, and you're going to go out on a night like this and do two really stupid, boneheaded things and crush an entire team effort, because you made bad plays. So like. The strength of Smart is the winning plays late. These are the opposite of winning plays. These are absolute killers. Okay. We don't have a name for them. What do we call them? I mean, losing plays is too obvious, but these are obviously bad
Ooh,
plays.
I got to think about that one.
That killed that cost them the game. I mean, look, there's 48 minutes in a game, 100 things, 200 different things happen. But these were awful. And so nobody's going out there and being like, yeah, well, we can't be hunting for fouls late in the game, and we can't be committing stupid fouls late in the game. We gotta know. If somebody just said we've got to understand the late game situation better, that's friggin' a shot right at Smart. Would that be justified? How would that land? I don't know.
It's really incredible. I know how to play basketball. I've been doing it a long time, and I've been pretty successful at it. I've always made the right plays. I'm not perfect. I've got things I can work on. I think that's the good part about it. As young as I am, as good as people think I am, I've got a lot to improve on. I'll be the first to say that. I'm always going to play the game the right way and the way that I was taught and the way I've played my whole life. That's never going to change. Just outright reputation. And what did Brown say? That probably wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
There was a real frustration between these two. And we've talked so much about the Jays relationship. Is that a point of contention? Do these guys get along? Can they play together? If this whole weird thing over the last couple of years, and again, we're all guessing, there hasn't been that deep dive and, autopsy of what's going on here. If Smart and the Jays has been this sort of thing that's just grating at each other the last 3 years, and up top, they, for some reason, have decided, maybe because of a value thing, maybe because of how they view them versus how the players view them, that they can't just dump them and move on from that dynamic there, maybe lose a trade in Ainge's case, maybe give up a tradable contract in Brad's case, because we know how they value those two things. If that's just been allowed to fester and explode this year, and it was simple as trading Smart for Aaron Gordon at last deadline, and again, I'm just speculating here, that's really frustrating because they're playing with a core that could win a championship feasibly. And if things just are gritting behind the scenes and these guys aren't working on the court and behind the scenes, that they're just kind of grating away at each other and they've refused to address it and they've just let it explode and double down with a contract extension, that is infuriating. Because again, I'm a big Smart fan. I think he's a valuable player and the stats show he's a plus player. But if your two superstars can't stand him and he's grating away at them constantly and you're not addressing that as an organization, that's just malpractice. And again, we don't have the answers. There's probably a little bit of everything going on here. I mean, Smart shouldn't even be a third best player on a team. That goes back to the organization in itself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just frustrating as we start to kind of see how this dynamic is playing out. We saw it in the bubble with the locker room feud. Smart and Brown were kind of the ones going at it there. We kind of got bits and pieces of through that athletic report last year. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a picture coming together on what the issue, what the dynamic is within this team. Is it the Jays on one side and is it Smart on the other side? It's a huge question for me right now because it wasn't that so easy to address, John, if
Well,
that was the issue.
So that's the funny thing is I've always kind of thought it was Jason over here, Jalen over here, and then whatever else. Not that they're not united, but that they weren't like. I'm sorry, I take it back. I don't think that Jalen and Jason are in opposition at all. They just
It's
may
hard
not.
to argue that they are.
They might not be in lockstep on everything. I don't think it's like me and Jason this me. I think they just kind of do their thing, they respect one another, but it's not necessarily. We joked about it a little bit. Smart in a strange way has unified the Jays, which is like, is this friggin' guy talking about us? Like, like give me a break here. So
no, and everybody should be able to take criticism, and I think this comment shows Tatum can. Brown has constantly been willing to say it, and he says it. Have you ever heard Smart say, "Oh, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Like I can grow in this area." Like even the shooting thing. Remember when Gary last year was asking about the shot selection to start the beginning of last year, and what was the thing he said back to him? Like I'm gonna shoot, just something to that effect over and over again. Like I'm a shooter. Blah 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 blah. I don't have the exact quotes off the top of my head, but there's never an introspection from Smart. Like he's able to dish it in terms of criticism and leadership. And I think that's valuable. I think we all agree what he said about the Jays was true, but you have to be able to take it too. You have to. And it just seems like they're constantly dancing around criticizing him.
Yeah, there's no question about it. There's no question about it. Sherrod, we have no choice but to bring him in on the phone. See if I can see him here. Can you see him?
Nope.
Sherrod, you're not coming in at all, even though I see you in the window here. Sherrod had computer issues right now, but the phone
you
is
might
not.
have to turn it sideways. I see him in the window too.
We tried that, and it's not working right now. So he's working through some technical difficulties. We'll try to get Sherrod out of Dallas before we wrap it up. But yeah, it's interesting here. I don't know whether they're all done with him. I think they can continue to play on the court, but I do think Smart's standing as a leader it has definitely taken a hit here with these guys.
Hey, and for one reason or another, I'm not even going to go there with the stupid captain thing, but that was another thing to start this year. It's like Ime's establishing something here. He has this good idea that he thinks is going to be contributing to something, and he wasn't the only one to outright shoot it down, but he set the tone by coming out seconds after him and just saying captains don't matter. We're all adults here. Like,
yeah, I hated that.
It was just...
I hated that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're all captains. Meaning, like,
why is he so? And again, he's gone through personal challenges. He's talked about this. He's had a rough year or two here. But why is he so frustrated to start this year? He got the contract extension. He has a pretty prominent role on this team. He's the point guard. He has a ton of ball time. He's free to take shots. And it's still like not enough. Like I'm standing in the corner.
Yeah.
Like I took such a shift on that comment. I thought in that night it was an aggressive comment that was necessary. But the more you look at it and read like the self-pity that was involved in it and his gripes with his role there and just everything he's done since.
Yeah. And I think, and again, I think my perception at the time, I'm with you, Bobby. My perception at the time was like, I'm not going to say anti-Jalen and Jason. It was frustration with Jalen and Jason because the expectation level on them is high. I want them to do the things that he's saying to do, which is to just, be smart about it. Like, he said, look for opportunities. Don't just try to do it all yourselves. It's always bugged me that they do that. So you're right. You're thinking, okay, good. I'm glad it was said. And you're right. As time goes on, you start to realize a lot of it was a kind of a sulky me stuff, and it didn't really land well. So I don't know. It's a tough call. For what it's worth, Sherrod, who was trying to get through here, did say that he thought His overall vibe on Tatum was very mellow talking about that. So again, we read it. Look, nothing Tatum says is ever really super fiery, but he was pretty chill. Just saying it very matter-of-factly, not seeming
I mean, that's
annoyed.
Tatum's demeanor.
Yeah, but not seeming annoyed, not snide, not colored with any way. Just kind of like, it is what it is. But let's just move on. I know what I'm doing. Blah blah blah. But I might, before we wrap, I'll see if we can get that clip. But if not, no big deal. Sherrod may or may not try to join us. If not, we will try to wrap it. What's our next
What
game,
was
Bobby?
Brown's comment? I felt that was something that probably wasn't necessary or something like that.
Wasn't necessary.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. That thing happened. What was up with that?
Yeah.
Next game's Wednesday, Toronto. Chance to get back at that opening night
Toronto
debacle. They started 6-3, 6-4.
Yeah.
Pascal Siakam could be making a season debut too, so they're coming in again fully loaded, attacking the offensive boards. They're the best offensive rebounding team in the league, so we talked about that tonight. That's going to be a challenge. Scotty Barnes has just been awesome every single night. He's becoming like a must-watch guy. Dragic's been terrible. They're going to have to move him, and who knows how much they're going to get for him, I think, and the way he's been playing. But I almost dream, I think Bill Simmons tossed this out there, that they could swap him for Jalen Brunson, but the way Jalen Brunson's playing, it's But yeah, Toronto, they could beat the Celtics again. They're long, they're active, they're really good at defense. Do it the same way they did it on opening night at the Garden. Just be disruptive and break up a bunch of plays and force a million turnovers and run.
Let's do it. I think we've exhausted everything we're going to talk about tonight. But again, not a great one for Marcus late. Great turnaround for Jason Tatum. Some solid efforts from Schroeder and Richardson. I thought a pretty good bouncy game from Rob. We didn't talk about him, but I thought he was fairly active tonight. So that was pretty good. And then
how many? This is something I can't get past with Rob. It's incredible. Like, I don't think any of us would have predicted this.
He doesn't foul anybody ever again. Yeah.
And it was like a touch foul, like on the perimeter, just kind of like bounced off Porzingis.
Well, you know what? A lot of it has to do, I think, because of a lot of the switching, he's ended up defending the perimeter a ton.
So he's not trying to block everything.
So he's not in there blocking a ton. And he's usually, a lot of times he's kind of chasing and trying to, get out and defend and threes. But I mean, it's an incredibly, he really has on the season. He had one game where he had a bunch of fouls. I think it was Charlotte, the OT game. The two, single OT or one OT.
He deserves a ton of credit for the health he's maintained overall, the minutes he's logging, the shape he's working toward. I don't think he's in prime shape yet, but he's getting there.
But he has 13 fouls total in 9 games right now.
He's playing twice as many minutes per game and fouling less than last year. It's
which
unreal.
is insane right now.
He deserves a ton of credit. It hasn't been flashy, like you said, and it doesn't jump off the page, and he hasn't had a huge moment.
No, but he's averaging 31 minutes a game right now. I mean,
and they're good minutes, good rebounding.
They're good minutes. I just thought over 30, I felt like he should have been, 13 and 12 and 10 easy. So he's just not, the production isn't as high as I thought it would be, because I just don't think he's playing with that same level of kind of dynamic, above the rim. Like, he's not doing those super freakish things that, and again, they're not looking for him either. I think Smart's not looking for him enough. Dennis did a little bit tonight too, but yeah, a lot of people asking here what the Marcus Smart market is. There is no Marcus Smart market. Bobby and I have debated this to the death. I never believed there was one. I didn't believe the Gordon stuff was real last year. I think this notion that they said we're keeping him and not trading him is just to make him feel better about himself. I don't believe any team was like, give me Marcus. I believe any idea that a lot of teams were interested in him was entirely drummed up by the Celtics to make it appear that they had leverage. I've said it a million times.
What's with the mixed messaging though?
No team is overpaying for a guy who shoots 30% from the floor. Like, he is a nice player to have, but no team. He would have signed as a free agent. No team is giving up assets for a player like Smart. No way. I've never understood that thinking. And people thinking he's being traded now? No.
Well, something
No.
interesting happened with that report that came out through Mannix that they were done with him, and then Brad's frustrated. Weird report, and it obviously didn't go Mannix's way with how it played out there. Who knows what ended up happening there, but was there a trade set up? Did something fall apart, and that was sort of like a precursor to it? Who knows? I know they were interested in Alonzo Ball, and that would have been the way they made it happen with New Orleans there, and it was inevitable that he was going to Chicago, but I think Boston gave it a real shot. And then you look back on the Gordon situation. That's the one I look at, and it's like, was it real? Was it there? Were the Celtics drumming up and really wanting Gordon? Because I do think that they were pretty interested in him and Fournier in that situation. There was a lot of noise around that. And were they just really trying to beat that Nuggets offer? Because the Nuggets offer wasn't great. I like RJ Hampton. Gary Harris was a bad contract. And a Nuggets first-round pick. It wasn't anything great. I think Marcus Smart gave you a real chance to get in there and do it. And I just want to know, did they take Smart off the table? Because that was kind of Ainge's line after. Like, we weren't trading Smart. We were never even talking about trading Smart.
I never believe that. That's what you're going to say after the fact, because that's what you're saying too. You don't want the players to be like, wow, geez, you tried your best. Han couldn't get rid of me. I just, that's how you do it. But anyway, the Marcus talk will continue. I thought we took it pretty light on him tonight, but
no, I think I hit it home at the end. It was a pretty strong closing combination, especially coming from me.
I know, exactly. Yeah. When Bobby's out, it's out, it's over. So Sherrod couldn't join us. He had technical difficulties out in Dallas. We're going to wrap the show. Want to remind everybody, calm.com /garden, 40% off your premium subscription. Please follow us on Twitter, at Real Bob Manning, at John_Zannis, Celtics CLNS Twitter as well. So you'll be notified of all of our live
and the coverage too. We've been putting out 1 million Celtics articles to start the year. CLNSmedia.com.
Beat writer Bobby Manning is crushing it on the website right now with a ton of stuff, ton of good written content. Yeah.
And a new notes column coming on Boston Sports Journal tomorrow too. I got some good stuff pregame from Ime and Jason Kidd on why everybody's switching all the time now. So that'll be a good piece to check out as well.
Yeah, check it out.
Dome Theory, of course.
Dome Theory for Bobby Manning. He's got it all. Subscribe to our YouTube channels as well, as I'm sure you would. And if anybody likes the Patriots, which I know a lot of you do, 1:00 game, Evan Lazar and I will be breaking it down over on the Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel. So subscribe there as well. We'll be live right after the game. Carolina, Stephon Gilmore reunion should be fun. So that's
it's a tough one if you're a Pats fan and a McCaffrey owner. It's one of those situations.
Is he playing for sure?
He's activated. I don't know if he's playing. He's still in my IR.
They started that 3-week clock. I don't know if he's been activated for the game yet.
They activated him, but I don't know if he's playing. They activated him today, though.
Oh, they did? Mm-hmm. Oh, that could be interesting. If that's the case, then he's going to play. Have fun with that, Bobby. Have fun with that. Anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Saturday night. We will see you on Wednesday.
3 days off.
Wednesday. All right. Take care.